Thank you very much. Under matters for consideration, we have a presentation on promotion of growth and development by the Director, Andrea Betty. And I'd also like to note that Sharon Bay, from our Economic Development Officer from EDCNS, is in the audience today. She has assisted with some of the information here. And welcome, Sharon. Thank you very much for coming. And we'll turn that over to Andrea to give her presentation.
Thank you very much, Councillor Levy. Mayor, members of Council, I do have a referral item to that I've tried to do as best I can understand what the referral was, but it was for the promotion of growth and development in the town of Penetanguishene. So as Debbie, Councillor Levy mentioned, Sharon is here to accompany me, and she can offer answer any questions if there are any. As well, Rachel Sullivan at the county also assisted in preparing this presentation. So a quick outline, we always do this, but I'm going to sort of give a summary of what happened in 2016 as well as describe or discuss some things that we're planning or expecting for 2017 and just generally describe the promotion of the town of Penetanguishene. So for a development summary, and this comes straight from the subdivisions, you'll recall that in early of 2016 the registration of the first phase of the Maxon subdivision on Mariah Street was completed. This was for 8 new single detached dwellings. All 8 single detached dwellings are being built or have permits attached to them now, so that was quite a success story for the town. In the fall of 2016, we did enter into a pre-servicing agreement with Harborview Point subdivision, which is also known as formerly Belle-Île Heights Phase 2. They were working late last year and into this year with their pre-servicing, so that's all the underground services, and they are eagerly looking forward to registration of that subdivision. We also are continuing to review a Queens Court subdivision on Fox Street. There are some matters that need direction from the Ministry of Natural Resources and Forestry with respect to endangered species, and we are actually meeting with them in the next couple of weeks. We have continued dialogue with the owner of 2 historic subdivisions, the Champlain Woods and Martin Marshallton subdivision. I've got a map on the next page for those who are not sure where these are. You'll recall that I had direction from council to impose a lapse date on those good for life subdivisions. So these are the 2 from which are good for life that we are working towards a lapse dates with the property owners. And then generally we've had discussions on historic subdivisions as well as other subdivisions in town with local builders or small developers. So that all was things that happened in 2016 when it came to subdivisions. So here's the map I was speaking to. So for those of you who are not sure where each of the subdivisions are, Maxon subdivision on Mariah Street, the Belle-Île Heights subdivision, but the historic ones are the Champlain Woods subdivision at LaFontaine Road and Champlain Road, as well as the Martin Marshallton subdivision, the second half of that, which is on the other side of the Cambridge Street. And the Queens Court subdivision, which is currently just an application, I don't believe it's been in front of committee or council yet, is quite a large piece of property between Fox Street, Broad Street, and the newly constructed Beck Boulevard part of the Parkbridge development. In terms of site plan approval, you'll all recall we did approve a site plan amendment for industrial filter. They are under construction, and that went fairly quickly and smoothly, as well as the site plan amendment for Burkevale Protestant School. That also has just about completed, and building permits will be issued shortly for those. We've consulted with the Georgian Bay Cancer Support Center on their new facility or new building on Main Street as well. I wanted to bring attention to consent applications in which more than 1 or 2 lots were created. Of note specifically are the formerly town-owned lands on Payette Drive, where there were 2 properties that sold off, and they did come through the Committee of Adjustment and have completed their consent applications to create 7 new single detached dwellings and 5 new semi-detached lots. And also there was a consent application to create 3 new lots on Murray Road, 2 for single detached and 1 for a semi-detached. I think you've probably heard from me in several things. 2016 was a very busy year in terms of construction. So we wanted to provide you some graphics just showing what that actually looks like. So this is a comparison of building permit history from 2016 to 2013. As you can see, new construction for dwelling units far surpassed previous years. I note in 2014, the 25 units, I believe, are for Wendat, so it kind of skews the numbers out a bit, where one development had a number of apartments that they created. So last year really was quite marked an increase in new construction in the town of Penetanguishene. I think when I went back and looked at it, sort of a 15 or 20-year history, not since 2003 or 2004 have we seen this kind of activity. So that's good news for the town. And just for your information, October was our highest month for issuance of building permits. I wanted to take a look and to see when it was happening, when the work was actually happening, and surprisingly, I thought it was going to be December. The county DCs seemed to spur on some activity. County DC increases seemed to spur on some activity, but it was actually October when a lot of building permits were issued. And then the next graph also shows the value of the construction. Now, this value of construction is not just new builds, it's also renovations or alterations to buildings. So again, last year we did great numbers in terms of the value of building permits, and so this really speaks to increasing the tax base for the town. So when people are renovating their properties, it really is increasing the value of their property and therefore the value of the taxes. And also the development charges for 2016, I think that's probably the biggest shocking number. We haven't seen that type of development charges collected in a number of years, and that just speaks to the new permits that we're issuing for development. In terms of promotion of the town of Penetanguishene, my department took on two brochures that were created, one for an economic development spin and one for a tourism spin. I think you've all seen them and have talked about them. They're out in the communities and at the county and far wider reaches. These are really trying to promote the town of Penetanguishene and offer some information up to our residents and to visitors. So perhaps some things that Council doesn't know that we do. So I am a member of the Economic Development Council of Ontario. We receive emails, sort of practice reviews and information, and can participate in seminars, training, and conferences that they offer. As well, we are on the distribution list for the county's requests for information, their RFIs. And so this is something we do collaboratively with the EDCNS and Sharon. So for your information, last year there were 19 RFIs that were circulated, and we provided information on 4 of those. So the next is some of the things that EDCNS did, and this is from Sharon. So I'll speak for her, but I'm sure she can answer any questions. So as you may know, the EDCNS held 4 manufacturing roundtables in 2016, and also held the Prosperity Summit on Accelerating Advanced Manufacturing Growth, which were both very successful events locally. And so further in marketing includes community survey to local businesses and organizations, the creation of the land inventory on the website, a video, The Magic of North Simcoe, which did win a national award, and completion of the Market Advanced Manufacturing Sector Community Profile, which we've been told is one of the biggest things we need to have in order to be attracting investment to our areas. So there you can see some of the community profile for the advanced manufacturing that was created through the EDCNS. And then at the County of Simcoe, they've been super busy as well. They are focused on 3 key pillars: attract, grow, and support. This document is intended to be a living document and can be flexible to be responsive to opportunities and challenges in coming years. So in terms of their attract, grow, and support pillars, just to note, so we noted that we participated in the request for information, so they actually have created a system for tracking and for distributing that information. They secured federal funding for both training and for value propositions report, which I'm told could be available at the end of February, and that they are the 5 sectors they looked at were manufacturing, agri-food, tourism, health and wellness, and professional services. And the county also hosted the familiarization tour. I'm sure the mayor could speak to a bit of that. But out of that FAM tour, the county has received confirmation that they are hosting another senior economic officials tour based on the SEOs who are in foreign markets, and that I understand was their key goal of having the FAM tour. So that's great news from the county. And in terms of grow, they've got the Development of Economic Development Ecosystem Resource Guide, Agri-Food Industry Training and Development, and the Manufacturers Forum. And support, they hosted the Skilled Trade Expo, which was really well received, and created an online tool for land inventories. I also understand in terms of the Skilled Trade Expo that this is a finalist for provincial awards, and the announcement should be out in February on that one. So I think those were great achievements by the County of Simcoe. Looking ahead to 2017, we expect another busy year in terms of development applications and building permits, maybe some just to bring to your attention. So the Harbor Point subdivision, they are requesting registration very shortly of Phase 2. This could happen very soon. I think actually the report's planned for sometime in February on that one. And just for information, they've indicated that they have around 30 pre-sold homes in that subdivision. So their marketing and pre-sales are going very well for them. The Queens Court subdivision on Fox Street, hopefully we'll be able to hold public meetings in the spring. There's a subdivision application as well as their zoning application. I'm also expecting to discuss with the owner of the St. Andrews Village on Fuller Avenue his applications for subdivision and zoning. Continued dialogue with the owners of the 2 historic subdivisions for imposition of the lapse date. And Whitewater Holdings, which is a 40-unit development on Thompson Road, is actively marketing their townhouse. And so we're getting a little bit of inquiries about that. And also the Georgian Bay Cancer Support Center site plan application we expect to as well. So in terms of how we're promoting the town in 2017, you may have heard that we will be a feature edition in the Business View magazine, which was a collaboration between Sustainable Severn Sound and the EDCNS and the town. We've heard that it's looking like we are the February edition. For your information, this was something completely free. We spent some staff time providing them with information, and they were going to dedicate 6 to 8 pages in their digital edition of the Business View magazine to the town of Penetanguishene. So that kind of promotion is wonderful to have. The Downtown Improvement Committee has been working on a digital and printed maps called the Downtown Business Directory. This is to identify for our residents as well as our visitors where certain businesses are, services are also, so it's online so that they can view it that way, as well as having different locations in town where it can be viewed and updated annually. The EDCNS website is going to be updated to include Stats Canada data, real-time updates in terms of, did I skip one? Sorry. Data population, and this was they were able to do this through funding they received from Invest Canada. They're continuing to market North Simcoe and the heart of Georgian Bay, hosting a second Skilled Trades Expo in May, and doing an investment attraction strategy. So there's also their advertisement that's going to be in the Mirror February 23rd, 2017. And so print advertisements in 5 Ontario newspapers as well as college online advertisements. So those are some of the different activities that the larger group are doing in terms of promoting growth and development in the town of Penetanguishene. I'd be happy to answer any questions. I would note that, if council has any ideas on thoughts of where you'd like us to explore or research in terms of promoting ourselves, I'd be happy to hear it. This was something I had on a referral item. I wasn't 100% sure what the intent behind it all was, but this is what I thought and the best I could do. So I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much, Andrea. I think you surpassed our expectations on this report. It's very clear, it's concise, it's complete. So I really do appreciate you showing us what you've done and what you plan to do. I'm also very excited about you working with EDCNS and then the county. I just wanted to assure my colleagues on council that I've been watching very closely for duplications, and I'm not seeing them. What I'm seeing is the cogs all fitting very nicely together, and I think the mayor will probably confirm that too from the county perspective. Everybody's working together, doing their piece of the job, and I think we're really noticing the effect of our emphasis on development growth and economic development. So thank you very much, Andrea, and thank you very much, Sharon, for your contribution. Any questions on this report? Okay. Councillor Saunders.
Andrea, I was very impressed with the presentation you've just made, and what you're trying to do, I think, is reasonable and realistic. At the end of the day, how will you know whether it worked?
Through you, Councillor Levy, to Councillor Saunders, I'm not sure I have a measurable tool that we could use to see if it worked. I can say that I'm getting feedback from people at the counter, local builders, local developers, to say that they're really interested in what the town of Penetanguishene is doing. They're seeing a demand here in Penetanguishene for new developments, so that's all positive. And I think in the end, that what we'll see if it's working is how we continue to develop our building permits and our value of construction, as well as our DCs continue to maintain or increase over time.
Sure, if I may. Many of the residents who live in Barrie area work in Toronto. They live in Barrie because they can't afford to live in Toronto, but they work in Toronto. I understand and I'm told that there's now a similar phenomenon going on between Barrie and Midland Penetang, that there are people who work in Barrie that can't afford to live there, and they're looking for other places to live. Are we trying to capitalize on that in any way?
I'm not sure I have an answer to that. I'm sort of looking at Sharon. If she has anything. I can definitely follow up with you, with the county, and well as the EDCNS to see where our target markets are and how we're doing that. I think the EDCNS has been focused sort of on manufacturing, but in terms of the relationship between living here and working here or working nearby, I hope that when they come visit the area, it's the community itself that brings people here. But I can see if we're doing any other target marketing on that.
What I had in mind specifically were the Elliott Lake ads that used to run up and down Highway 400 from time to time saying retire in Elliott Lake because it's so inexpensive to live in Elliott Lake, and on and on and on. And what I had in mind was the question of whether or not that made any sense in terms of our relationship with Barrie. Should we be running ads in Barrie to try and attract people into this part of the world? I don't know if that makes sense or not, but that's why we have you people.
Thank you, Councillor Saunders. That's a very valid point. And at the same time, we talk about the Barrie market. There's also people we've discovered moving from farther north down to this area to be closer to Barrie and the GTA. So I think that we will have some discussion moving forward with the EDCNS board and with our own planner about potential for marketing. But I think Mayor Marshall has something to say on that topic as well.
Sure. One of the strategies, just from the county perspective, is Innisfil is pretty much dead center of the county of Simcoe, so we invested $57 million into that area to get the water and wastewater to drive those employment lands on the 400 corridor, which means you're 35 minutes from Penetanguishene to there, so you shorten up the commute. That's part of the strategy. The other part of the strategy is how you, what I'll call puddle jump Barrie. So you're into Barrie and how you track business north of Barrie, so we're working on that as well. And one of the activities we're undergoing with the EDCNS is actually 11 of our manufacturers getting together, and we're doing an ad advertising the skilled trades opportunity up here for 110 positions, and that's followed up by another 163. But the interesting part there, Councillor Saunders, is our business community is banding together. 11 of the manufacturers got together to do an ad that would start here locally, but that's actually going to be driven out across the province to other areas. So, and to your point, the other one is the interesting one, and I think Councillor Saunders tweaks a very interesting conversation about affordability of housing up here. I think I heard in the news last night in CBC that Barrie is the 8th highest place in Canada to rent. So it's becoming unaffordable in the city of Barrie. So I think Councillor Saunders' challenge to all of us to think about how we advertise up here is that on that we are affordable, and there's no doubt about that.
Thank you very much, Mayor Marshall. Madam Clerk, do I need a motion to approve this, or is this for information? We're good. Did you have something to add?
Sorry, yeah, I just add to it. It's on my referral or on P&D's referrals list. My thought would be annually I'd come back to committee and discuss what happened the year before and what we're planning for the year coming up, just so you have that information annually so you know what to expect.
Thank you very much. Mayor Marshall?
Just a question to staff and more to Stacey. I think in terms of the live stream, do we have the ability to actually capture the snapshot? This is a very excellent report, very good news story. And so we've got this live stream, we've got it videos. Is there a way that we can actually capture this little segment of tonight's meeting, Facebook it, tweet it, and get it out there? Because I think there's some really positive messaging here. It'd be nice to get it out and about in other fashions beyond the normal routes that we take.
I will do my very best to make that happen.
Thank you very much, Stacy. Thank you, Mayor Marshall.